Corbin, how are you today?
I'm doing fine, Dahlia. Nice to be with you.
Nice to be with you too. And before we get into that conversation, tell me what your thoughts are in regards to what the top challenge is for event professionals in the next decade or so, not the next year, but like the decade itself.
I think that it's going to be adapting to the new normal, essentially, that after the pandemic, I believe that face-to-face change events will change permanently. I've been watching this space for 23 years, and I've never seen an unprecedented whirlwind of innovation that's been happening around virtual and hybrid events. But I think the impact of that will carry over substantially into the future. I think that virtual and hybrid meetings will have a significantly larger market share, and I think that will impact. It's time to really thinking about, throw out our standard playbook of how we've always done meetings, and it's time to reassess and look at it. What about event timing, and what about how do you monetize it? There are lots of things up in the air, and I think that this adapting to this very substantial change is exciting, but it'll be one of the biggest challenges that we all face.
So in regards to event organizers, what are the type of skills that they will need to bring into their team or outsource to? What are the top skills that are needed at the moment?
I think that it's, first of all, is being technology literate and have technology literacy and curiosity is one of the things. And being adaptable to change, I think, is going to be a key component of it. There's so much new things that are happening, so many new ways of doing it, and having an understanding about what the options are out there with technology, having an understanding of digital marketing and social media and all those things that go into it, I think would be the things that I would look for if I was in the hiring process.
Yeah, I agree with you. I would add two more things to that. I would say event organizers actually lack an understanding of content marketing. And I think that content creation and marketing is going to be a key differentiator between one experience to another, as well as community building. And so community building, not only member base, if you will, and so forth, but it's going to have more to it on the design side, so that they need to have that savviness in order to move forward, in my opinion.
I agree. I mean, when you boil events down to the most essential element, we bring people together, and now we have a whole new tool set to do that in a virtual and a hybrid way. And it really will center around content marketing and data management around that content.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the flip side, because you are the godfather for event technology. Yeah, I mean, is this not the sweetest boom that you've seen in a long time when it comes to solutions?
It has been. I've never seen such an explosion of innovation and best practices being worked around how you do that. There's a Chinese word for crisis is two characters. One is danger and one is opportunity. And certainly we've experienced the danger component, but there are huge opportunities out here to reinvent what we have been doing for so long.
So in regards to the challenges, what do you think will be the challenges for event tech companies in the next decade?
Well, I think that one of the things is that just getting through the pandemic is going to be, especially for the large event and trade show technology companies. I mean, the Consumer Electronics Show is going virtual. I mean, there's all these. Large trade shows are not going to happen for some time, and for all the support tech around that, they're really going to have to get through this. So that housing management software and that part of it, the large lead retrieval and registration companies that manage that. There are a number of areas that will see significant challenges, but there are lots of opportunities as well.
So let's talk about that. Name like 3 quick opportunities that event tech companies can
Well,
maximize on.
first of all, the virtual hybrid events, that goes kind of without saying with that. But then, I think that we are learning lots during this time about attendee engagement technologies and, new ways of gamification that will roll over into hybrid and face-to-face events. Mobile app technology has been, I think, a real important part of how hybrid events are being worked through, that you will have a common networking application, even on site or virtually, with push notification and with gamification and networking and that part of it. I think that the data integration tools, and especially data analytics using artificial intelligence, will play. We're just starting to scratch the surface on that right now. This is going to be huge in this next decade. I also think that augmented reality and virtual reality will play quite a significant role. The virtual reality for the virtual space, for that, but for augmented reality, when Apple finally comes out with their augmented reality glasses, which will be way better than Google Glass and much less intrusive looking and all those things. I think that there's going to be a huge market for that, for the on-site event, for wayfinding, for networking, for all sorts of things. So those are just a few of them. Then, and the final one is production companies. Yeah. We with a hybrid event, it's really planning for 2 separate events, 2 completely different audiences, and that virtual audience is going to require production quality standards. It's more like a live television talk show, rather than putting a camera in the back of a room and expecting people to watch it. So production values will need to increase, and I think that there's a big opportunity for that.
Yeah, I also I'd add on to that I also think that sentiment analysis is going to play a role, so that you're able to read, no pun intended, the people in the virtual room versus those in the hybrid or like in the face-to-face setting. And it's all going to be related to how do you dissect the content that resonated with the different audiences as well, so that you can serve more of that. Same as Netflix, there is a reason for we've been binging Queen's Gambit for a reason.
Oh, that's been great. I loved it. We're binging to The Crown right now. So, but I think I agree with you. The data analytics, that ties into the data analytics, and the beautiful part of the virtual attendee is that every click or every touch in a mobile event app is trackable. And so you can get, in some ways, deeper insight to what they're specifically thinking and what their interests are than you can with the face-to-face attendee.
Yeah, absolutely. And so with your crystal ball out, what do events look like in the next decade or so?
Well, I think that they're going to be, the trend is going to be toward more shorter and more focused sessions. This is what the attention span for a virtual attendee is just not as long. And I think that hybrid events will play not just as a bridge to carry us past through the pandemic, but I think that the event organizers will realize that there's a substantially larger market out there. And that changes the rules about how you monetize things, how you engage people, and how your sessions look. And I think that it's going to be more like the TED Talks than these 90-minute sessions where somebody's walking around on a stage. I think that and it's going to go 2 ways as well. I think that one of the hottest things at the National Speakers Association right now is learning how to do virtual presentations instead of live presentations. So that opens up, and they're developing their studios and doing this. And this potentially has if you start bringing in virtual attendees, there's opportunities for bringing in virtual speakers that are higher quality, would cost less probably because they're not flying all those parts of it. Is I think it's just the time to open up. This is a great time to reinvent ourselves, and I think that's what will be happening in this next decade.
Absolutely. Reinvent. I'm gonna borrow the phrase "exploit the chaos," as Jeremy Gucci says. But I mean, if you're not gonna do it now, then there's no way that you're gonna do it later and survive, to be honest. So, but thank you for this, and thank you for this opportunity to chat. Corbin, thank you.
Happy to do so, Dahlia. It's always a pleasure.